Well, there has been a lot of parity so far this season on the World of Outlaws Tour with 11 different winners in 24 events. One driver, though, that is used to finding himself in victory lane more frequently is 10-time champion Donny Schatz. After a win at Volusia to open the schedule, the Fargo native is still searching for his second victory of 2022 as he and his team continue tinkering with their engine program. Midco Sports' Shawn caught up with Donny at his shop last week to talk about that and a whole lot more. It's this week's Inside Track.
All right, here with the 10-time World of Outlaw champion, Donny Schatz. Back in the Midwest for a while. You guys have been on the East Coast and the West Coast, and now you're pretty much parked in the Midwest over the next 6 weeks. I know you've been fighting some things. I know it's always going to be a challenge for you. How is that going here throughout this early part of the season?
You know, it started off really good the first night. We just can't seem to get a baseline, can't get a balance. We really don't have a go-to motor for things. We just, you know, it's just a dynamic that if one thing's wrong, it's like there's 10 things wrong, and we change one and 10 other things change. So it's not from lack of effort. The guys are doing a phenomenal job. We got a great group of guys. You know, that's kind of what keeps us all going is the guys we get to race with. So we're working on it, but that's all we can really do. The finishes have been really subpar. I mean, it doesn't take long to look at the stats and figure out, you know, we're not where we want to be. But like I said, at the end of the day, we're with a great group of guys. They just keep digging. They have all the focus in the world, and we'll get it. It's just win.
Yeah. Beyond even that, Donny, there's challenges in this industry, just like there is in every other industry, which is getting parts, getting tires, trying to figure this stuff out when it takes so long for everything to transpire. And even diesel prices, I mean, this all factors in to making this a tough operation here in 2022.
Yeah, it's you know, there's a lot of things that none of us seen coming. This tire shortage, and it's not just sprint car racing, it's all forms of racing. And you know, even if they went tomorrow and just tried to get a surplus, you know, it would affect everything else. So it's kind of like when you get behind, it's really hard to get pulled out of that gutter. But you know, getting parts, engine parts are hard to get. Right now you can't get blocks, you can't get certain things, you know, rocker arms. It's just, it's all across the board with everything you do. It's just incredible, but it's made it a little bit of a challenge. You know, I think they've adapted well to the tire rule. Obviously, I think going to one tire a night is something that's probably could stick across the board to begin with. I mean, there's a lot of series that's what they do, and that would force a guy to change the way they race a little bit rather than abuse tires for a short amount of time and put new ones on for the features. So it affects some things quite a bit, but that's what we have to deal with us as we run one right rear night. So I think there's some good things, but it'd be nice to get back to where, you know, hey, you cut a tire down, you actually have a spare. There's a lot of guys that don't have that luxury. So it's just something to deal with. It just makes it more of a challenge.
And you've gone back to a little more of a throwback scheme this year on the paint, back to the yellow 15, kind of going back to the roots a little bit. I know drivers, they care more about what's inside the car than what's outside the car, but it's still kind of a fun thing.
Yeah, I can't see the color when I'm in the car, so. But you know, it's yeah, it's a little bit of a throwback. Yellow's always been, you know, something my father has loved because it's easy to spot on the racetrack. And I joke with him a lot. I say, well, you should be looking up front, but right now that's not actually the case. So it's probably good that it's yellow. You can spot it pretty easy wherever it's at. And you know, it brings back some fond memories from a lot of years, and you know, it really looks good. It looks good with the CarQuest logo on there. It makes it pop. So we're happy with the yellow, and we'll see if we can't get a few more victories with the yellow like the yellow used to get.
This summer, it feels like there's more multi-day shows, big money shows than what we've had in the past. You know, we always had these nationals here and there, but Huset's is adding multi-day shows. We're seeing what Tony is doing with Eldora, adding multiple shows there. It feels like more money is coming into the sport, at least on some level, and I'm guessing from your standpoint, that's a positive thing.
Yes and no. There is and there isn't. You know, our platform here, the payoff structure is based off 3,000 people in the stands, and it's been that way for a long time. Now we don't have just 3,000 people in the stands. We got the stands full, and we got this streaming money. And what's happening, the streaming money isn't necessarily coming back to us in any way, shape, or form, but what it's done in late model racing is, you know, you have 2 Premier Series, and now you have another streaming series with XR that's allowed these guys to race for huge money. And I think you're going to see that come down the Sprint Car Turnpike here very soon. We'll just see what happens with it. We'll do our best to keep pushing them along. And it has definitely changed. You know, the streaming has definitely changed the dynamics of it. And everybody was worried it was going to take people out of the stands. We don't have events like that. I'm sorry. People still come to see the World of Outlaws. They still come to get autographs. They still come to see their favorite drivers. So it's you know, it's as strong as it ever has, and all it can do is go this way.
Well, we need everything to go this way because everything else is going this way for all of us as well. Donny, thanks as always for the time, and we'll see you down the road.
Thanks, Brian.
Now, Schatz and the rest of the Outlaws will be back on the track this weekend for the 2-day Brownells Big Guns Bash at Knoxville Raceway. They'll return to our area for those 4 straight days at Houston Speedway in late June.